Hi, Bonsai Ligan here again. So today in this clip, I'll talk about how I maintain my Pemphis Acidula. So this is a Pemphis, that is a Pemphis, at my back is a Pemphis, and another Pemphis. So basically I have plenty. So firstly I'd like to talk about the natural habitat or the environment in which these Pemphises grow. They grow in near the sea, and on rocks, on cliffs, on sand, and I've seen even mud where the sea and the river met, and then this gets submerged. So I try to mimic that environment, but not really much that way because there are considerations. So firstly, these Pemphises, my Pemphises are planted in a very coarse river sand, not sea sand. Okay, never sea sand. So I'll get to that later. Why? So these Pemphises are planted in soil 1/4 inch at least when I started this. So, and they have to have large drainage holes. Your path needs large drainage holes. For example, like this. See? Very large to facilitate good drainage. And you put a screen mesh there and anchor it. Okay. So the soil that I use is this coarse. Now, if you'd like to imagine how coarse is this, just listen to the sound. This is even yet an unfiltered or unwashed soil, but it's basically that coarse. But then I usually wash that, remove really the fine sands and just the coarse ones. So 1/4 to 1/2. Most bottom part are the coarser, so you can include 1/2 up to 1/2 in size. So that big. Anyway, so that's for the soil. That's what they're growing on. Okay, then the next requirement for Pemphises are watering. They need a lot of water. So how do I water them? I ensure that they are wet in the roots, like this. Okay. So I ensure that they get enough that the water can drain down the bottom. Well, you cannot really see it, but you can just estimate. Anyway, for us who are already very much used to this. Another thing in their water needs is that they like to be washed. See, just like in their environment, they are near the sea, so they get humid environment. Okay, like this. So I wash them. I include the bark and the leaves. Okay, Pemphises usually do not require so much repotting like I used to when for example, in this Prema, this did not start in this bonsai pot. When this was collected, I grew these branches, and this was planted in a very large pot. So to increase this branches, then when I'm satisfied with the primary branches, then it was transferred here on a smaller pot. Okay, the next requirement of Pemphis is sun exposure. You cannot put a Pemphis under a tree or just 4 hours of sun. They need full sun. Full sun means 12 hours a day. But at least if they get 8 hours a day, they can thrive. But just like here, about 8 hours a day. But sometimes we in the club, we display them in a really open area, so they get 12 hours a day, and you will really notice that they are that lush. Okay, very green and lush. Okay, fertilization. Firstly, what they need is soil. So I try to spray them with like this. So, seawater. Seawater is the best. But sometimes if you can't have, you put salted water. You mix salt in the water, dilute that, and then spray them to the leaves. You can also put in the ground or in the soil, but of course that can be expensive. So for me, going to the beach and getting water, seawater is also expensive. You have to bring your truck or a pickup, and then unless if you have plenty of seawater. So others, especially those in living in Luzon, they mimic this that environment by fertilizing with fish emulsion, or here we call that ginamos. That's a local name. It's a salted fish and soak in water, and then let it soak there for months. And so you get the fish emulsion. Then you can just pour it there, or you can put it in spray. That clogs up your spray, but that's another problem. So they get seawater. I spray them at least once a week. But best is every day. Okay. My practice is not actually every day. Could be 3 times a week at most. Why? You can observe that once you spray them, the leaves become thick, and sometimes getting into round rather than flat. So from flat, it bulges. Then sometimes it can really bulge too much. Okay. The explanation there is that salt has, or seawater or salty water has thicker density, bigger density than plain water. So once the salt are there, it creates an osmotic pool. So water is filled in, gets inside your leaves, and that's why it bulges. Now the key there is that when you are applying seawater or salted water, you really have to ensure that this gets watering and spraying in the leaves. Otherwise, salt can still be dehydrating. It absorbs the water in the leaves, but not actually to its vascular system, meaning it doesn't get into the vascular system or the live veins. Rather, it will pull your water towards the tissues, just the tissues. I'm talking technical, but that's the way it is. So that's the explanation. So anyway, what you have to do, just bear in mind that you have to water them. And I actually water these plants, Pemphises, twice a day. Twice a day. I have no problem with root rot. Why? Because I have good drainage and very coarse soil. So I just tell my helper, water it. So at least that means that's the minimum. So sometimes I could get to 3 times a day when the sun is really hot. So my instruction to my helpers is mist them. But of course they could not usually identify what is misting and just washing. So anyway, this can tolerate washing. So even if it's midday, they just do it like that. Okay, no problem. Or you can mist. So I think the mist is, that's the mist. Of course, sometimes it's really hot, so they are in a hurry, and just no problem. Okay, so that they get 3 times. Okay, another thing is that fertilizers. Okay, these are greedy eaters. They need a lot of fertilizers. What I use is slow release. Okay, I use a dispenser like this, or if I won't have any more, I just wrap them in mosquito nets, or sort of, you can even use stockings, old socks, and just place it there. These are expensive, slow releases are expensive, and so you cannot allow them to just be thrown away when you wash. This can be used for 3 months. Okay. Another fertilization is organic fertilization. The organics are better because in Pemphises you have to put a lot of fertilizers. They are greedy eaters. They need a lot of fertilizers. And if you're completely using or inorganic fertilizers, then your soil can easily get acidified, or its pH will decrease. So the tendency for that is that this will weaken, and you will notice that it would need repotting earlier. So organics are the best, although they are slow acting, but in the long run it will be easier for you. But anyway, I'd like to have to see fast growth, so at least I use this slow release, but they are also considered inorganic and also can acidify. So that's the fertilizers, sand, watering. And another inorganic that other people use is the fish emulsion. I've talked about that. And well, basically that's it. That is if you already have a stable Pemphis. Remember, soil, all coarse river sand, no mud, no organic such as cocoa pit or wood chips that can eventually clog your drainage. No. When they're in pot, the roots are sensitive. No. So when I repot them, I do not usually cut. I cut the roots. I try to fit them in the same pot, unless I'll be forced. But I've noticed that these Pemphises have very small roots. In spite of their very bulky body, very big trunks, they have small roots. So I realized that this Pemphises absorbs water not only through the roots. They can absorb in the trunk, they can absorb in the leaves. So that's why the watering needs to be, they have to be sprayed all over. Okay, another technique that I just learned this lately. So I put seaweeds. I just put them around, and I observe that they're good. And then I also, in my seawater, I put some calcium tablet, and I see the difference when I wire them. So when I wire them, if they have less calcium, they easily break. So sometimes I wire them, suddenly they break. So, but if they are with calcium, then basically those are my secrets and not secrets anymore. So I hope you learn it, and please feedback also on your observation on the effect of your Pemphises. Thank you and good day.